Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Fapping with Sheepy, where this week I'll be beating my meat to save my dead YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. Please don't get me a community strike. That being said, I'm going to be unironically reviewing / critiquing porn now, specifically h-manga and doujinshi. For those of you here for the tri-monthly Siege video, please stick around. This isn't just a dumb meme or shitpost. Okay, maybe just a little bit, but I genuinely want to provide a perspective on lewd anime drawings on a slightly deeper level than an ironic weep video using cropped porn as a thumbnail. Let's begin with some questions you might already have. I'm not going to be able to cover all of these in depth, at least not in this one video, but what I'd like to do is a little show and tell. I'm sure you don't remember every single waifu that has given you jack pleasure, but if you're the audience for this kind of stuff, maybe some of them have stuck out in your memory. Why is that? Perhaps you like how similar the art was to the source material, how well it articulated the mannerisms of a character you like, or there was an interesting premise or twist to it. It could also have scratched a niche fetish you have, the one that's surrounded with terrible 3D CGI porn, so you're just glad it exists. Some of these are also notable for other reasons, but that's not the subject of today's video. Speaking of which, here is Koigo Kodo by Mame Denkyu. It's a cutesy incest story where of course the main character wants to fuck his little sister. It starts off with your typical hentai plotline, with him conveniently filling her up, and his troubles are bluntly explained to us. He wants to fuck her because she has boobs now, and doesn't know how to deal with that. His sister blurts out that she's afraid he stopped hanging out with her because, I guess, maybe he hates her now or something. So he reassures her by pushing his tongue into her mouth, French kisses her in public, then they teleport to a hotel to fuck. Don't get me wrong, I like the art and there's nothing inherently wrong with a simple story, but why did so many people give it an average 4.65 out of 5? The ending isn't very interesting and the lewd stuff itself is rather bland as it is, yet the consensus is something close to a perfect score. It's almost like this was judged based on some haphazard check marks, and yeah, I haven't seen this guy here yet, so it must be great, right? I'd like to make this clear, I don't dislike or hate it, I just think it's a bit undeserving of the score that's been given, especially in a creative medium like this. Maybe you think I'm being silly because of how subjective porn taste can be, but there's definitely objective merits or lack thereof we can criticize here.
But Sheepy, scores are meaningless. People will give anything 5 stars as long as it's not drawn in Microsoft Paint.
And unfortunately you'd be correct. People leave 5-star Amazon reviews on mediocre products just because the shipping was fast, even if that has absolutely nothing to do with the product itself. On the other end of the spectrum, you have 1-star reviews because someone lacked reading comprehension and was mildly inconvenienced. My point is, don't be that person. Let's not have 90% of everything on his website be 4 or 5 stars, with the only exceptions being the absolute bottom of the barrel stuff. Worse still is that plenty of content or tags are unfairly 1-star by people because a specific fetish doesn't cater to them or disgust them in some manner. That's not what the rating system is for. It's why tagging and blacklisting even exists in the first place. I'm going to need you to dispel your personal opinions about Vor for a bit. Does this upload have bad scan quality, deviant audio drawing, or horrendous typesetting? If not, let's do everyone a favor and leave the ratings to the intended audience for it. Galleries with more extreme content should give you a warning before you even see anything, and given that you can entirely blacklist Chinese uploaders who keep translating faster than anybody else, there's really no excuse for this kind of behavior. Right, enough sidetracking for now. I'd like to compare Koigo Kodo with another h-manga, which also involves an incestuous relationship with original characters. It's called Nani-chan by Nakani. You may slowly remember it from the facial expressions in this one. Let's begin. A girl is waiting by a door with her luggage. She's greeted warmly by a brother, who ruffles her hair up a bit, and comments she's grown since he's last seen her. Normally we might have a flashback here or something. Instead, she just kinda watches him do push-ups. She's also changed her home clothes now, which just so happens to let us look at her legs. Nichan makes light talk about how strong he's gotten because that's what men do. He reveals he nudged her hair on purpose earlier just to see how she'd react. She probably didn't do her hair too much back then. He also confides that while he admired her drive to push her studies further, he sorely missed her company. Although she doesn't really say anything back, it's evident the feeling is mutual. In case you couldn't already tell, I much prefer the way we are introduced to these characters and the story here. There's no inner monologuing or thought bubbles, were provided with enough context to understand what their relationship might have been like. Their mannerisms, facial cues, and little exchange feel more authentic. Not exactly groundbreaking stuff, but it's already an exception by most hentai standards. Perhaps you're of the opinion that if the author only set out to have the siblings make love and didn't care for how it got there, then all that stuff doesn't really matter, but I disagree. A big appeal of incest for a lot of people, or at least one major aspect for it, is not just its inherent taboo nature, but the plausibility of that fantasy. Why even have an incest story about these two going at it if they don't actually seem like siblings? This would be easier to overlook if this was of pre-existing characters from an anime or something, because then we'd have the source material to fill in the gaps for us. Anyway, back to the story. Imoto-san is having trouble sleeping and decides maybe some fresh air will help. She hears some noises and moves to investigate. It's Nichan, and he's beating up his bishop. By the way, how did it even get there? Instead of leaving and pretending that never happened, she continues to peep at him and worms in for a closer look. This goes on for a while. And well, where else can this lead to? She freezes up and doesn't say anything, apprehensive as he reaches out for her. Is this the part where he rips her clothes off and impregnates her as punishment? No, not really. He shows concern more than anything else and plops her from the coat outside and onto his bed. He unwinds by smoking his pencil like a cigarette, then tries his best to deflate the awkward situation. She apologizes for interrupting him and he lets her be on her way. Except she doesn't actually leave and just carries on peeping at him. Without a word, Nishan follows her out into the hallway. They exchange a look, then he slips his boxers off. Hey, check out the first person perspectives in these panels. It must have been difficult to... Oh, right, never mind. Sweating bullets? She starts to tear up as she begins to... I don't know, what do you think she's doing? A tear drops on his pee-pee. Nichan has also started crying and feverishly sweating. Then they practice their breathing exercises. She exposes her breasts bare for him and he gets on top of her. For the sake of brevity, and also because I don't want to get this video taken down immediately, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show you the rest of it. I posted all of my sources in the description if you want to take a look yourself. There's a lot of comments here poking fun at the faces they've made. While it does seem like they're trying to outdo Ainsley Harriott in some of these panels, I think the artists did a really good job at conveying how they feel. They're obviously scared, in disbelief. There's quite a bit of stuff happening for them. Unsurprisingly, there's consequences and implications for acting out on their urges, except when there isn't. They never expected something like this would ever happen, yet here they are. It's a very surreal experience, and all they know is they want to keep going. It's only on page 22 that her shrunken irises go away, and she regains some of her composure. I'm sure you can piece together some of their other thoughts. The best part is none of this was explicitly spelled out for us. They don't really say anything to each other up to the very end, because, I don't know, who would be chatty in a scenario like this? There's a very human aspect and some nuance to all of it. Not sure why it was just Lamau epic reaction images for some who were vocal about it. So, a quick disclaimer. I can't actually read moon runes, so I am at the mercy of the translator's interpretation of the dialogue. You can't exactly one-to-one Japanese into English, so things might be propped up or seem worse unfairly because of the translator's choice of words. I don't think that would invalidate my views on these two specific stories so far, but it's something to keep in mind. I have some ideas on what kind of criteria I personally would have scored these on, but it's not anything concrete, so I'll abstain for now. I'm just not so sure they should share such a similar rating. Koigo falls apart too quickly for me. At least it's an incest story with original characters. It's just really generic, and I think it would have worked just as well, if not better, as an image set. Mame Denkyu would be able to focus on showing the cute girl getting porked, or potentially have more sequences of lead stuff instead. That being said, a h-manga or doujin doesn't need to be realistic or connect with you on a personal level to be good. Most of the stuff people draw and get off to isn't very self-aware because they're fictional works, a form of escapism. Some of my favorite ones happen to be pretty out there, and I wouldn't have them any other way. The difference is they actually had something unique that set them apart. Whereas there's a sea of incest h-manga and doujinshi out there just like Koigokuro. It's not doing anybody favors to put it on a pedestal. Hey, thank you for listening to me this far. It's my first time doing a video like this, and I figured it might as well be a topic I'm passionate about. There's some other stuff that I did want to mention, but I didn't want to scare anyone off with the length of the video. Maybe there'll be in some follow-ups if this is well received. Either way, feel free to leave some suggestions in the comments or mention stuff you want me to take a gander at. I'll see you all in 3 months.